So, glitter I find is like cilantro. You either really fucking love it or you either really fucking hate it. I don't know why cilantro keeps coming up in my life as something that people either really love or hate. I love it. I also love glitter. And glitter I attribute as part of my queer femme identity, as thank you, Emma, for identifying as a queer femme before. It's always nice not to be the only one, because a lot of people don't know what that is. I hate pants, so I wear dresses, and that's just the beginning, but that's, again, stories for that last a year. So I think I came to love glitter through a series of a comedy of errors. It probably all started in the 90s for those of us who were, I'm assuming everyone was around in the 90s, but you never know. If anyone shopped at Claire's Accessories or Ardennes before Ardennes sold clothes, I used to go to Claire's and Ardennes probably every second week in Montreal and buy out the glitter section to the point where I would go back every second week and the people who worked there would be like, oh, it's that person. Yeah, we have to restock our glitter section because of you. And so I didn't really realize that this was a thing until I would go back and they'd be like, oh, guess what? It's 2001 and we don't have body glitter left. Because I guess that's when like YM and Teen Beat and Tiger Beat and like all that shit that had Jonathan Taylor Thomas on the cover back then stopped also thinking that body glitter was cool. Does anyone remember glitter hair mascara? Because I used to wear that shit in my hair all the time. And unapologetically so. Anyways, so I guess there was about a period of maybe like 7 years in the early 2000s when glitter was not really a thing. And living in Montreal and coming from Montreal, glitter just never really seemed to be like a part of French culture. I don't know why French people don't like glitter. I'll go back and ask them one day. But anyway, so I moved to Toronto in 2011, and before that, I spent a summer here in 2007 where I had just come out the year before. Yay, super exciting. I'm not going to share my coming out story because Nikki's was far more fabulous than mine was. Basically, my really Jewish parents were like, oh, great, so you'll bring home a Jewish wife? And I was like, probably not. We'll talk about that another time. But I guess like the first way that I heard about Pride was when my really religious Jewish aunt in Thornhill, I think this is getting filmed, but my aunt and uncle don't use YouTube. They don't know what that is. I think the first time I ever heard about Pride was when my aunt was like, oh yeah, I decided to go into the city of Toronto for an afternoon on Sunday, and there were a lot of rainbows and people and like things going on right near Yorkville where I usually shop, and so I decided to hide in Starbucks because I was worried that the cameras would capture me on screen, and I didn't want to be on screen during like the gay pride parade. And at the time, I was really young and I didn't really know what that meant. And I was like, oh, but it's a parade. Like, there's rainbows. Like, how could that be so fucking bad? Anyway, so fast forward to 2007. I had just come out. I was living in Toronto. I went to my first ever Dyke March. And I don't want to be all cheesy and say that changed my life, but it changed my life. And I mean, how could it not for any Dyke identified people in the room? Anyways, we're just going to stop right there. So, I had fallen in love with someone the summer before who was a woman, and she had the first same name and middle name as me, and also the same haircut, and we also worked at the same organization, because apparently in Toronto, that's how things go. And I was just like, is this really a possible thing? Like, we're both named Lauryn Michelle and have like asymmetrical, then all brown haircuts, and both work for the same nonprofit, but yeah, apparently the queer community is like 5 people, so that's how it works. Anyone can relate? Probably, yeah. So anyway, so she was like, oh, you should come to the Dyke March, because I was just really awkward and constantly lusting after her and her girlfriend, and being really awkward, and so like I am right now. And she took me to the Dyke March where there was the leather dykes and the dykes on motorcycles and the dykes on bikes and everyone, and I was just like, what is going on? Because Montreal did not have a Dyke March back then. And so my mind was blown. Like, here was this amazing demonstration that was really fucking political and really fabulous and also really sparkly. And so I was, I don't know if I was more attracted to the people in the march or the sparkles, probably both, just like most people are distracted by shiny things, as I am right now with all these lights. And so sure enough, I met the second woman I would ever fall in love with, and her last name was Titanic. And as someone with the last name Kronick, I don't really have to explain a lot more, but I didn't believe that her last name was Titanic. And so most people ask me for my ID when I say that my name is Lauryn Kronick, also because I look 18, but also because when I was growing up in Ottawa for a while, answering the phones to the Kronick residents, having two parents who work for the government, you know, they would ask questions. So I was like, your last name's not Titanic. Like, that's just not a thing. And sure enough, it totally was. So the jokes that would ensue after that, like, oh, she goes down like the Titanic, not really funny, but kind of funny at the same time. Too soon? Same century? Anyways. Let's not talk about how obsessed with the movie Titanic was, and that I once entered a contest with how many posters of Leonardo DiCaprio do you have in your wall? Because that happened. It was the 90s when I loved body glitter. Anyway, so I had this epic summer of 2007 where I was like hanging out with the first woman I ever fell in love with, and then she introduced me to the one that I had this like really hot, like platonic, unrequited love affair with, where she cut my hair and like put her hands down my shoulders as she was cutting my hair, and I thought it was like the most erotic moment of my like 21-year-old life at the point right then. There have been many more erotic moments since then, involving hair cutting and not. My hairdresser's not here, it's fine, even though she's great. And yeah, so that's the summer that I really discovered that glitter was somehow incorporated into queer culture, and I was like, this has to, there's more to this. And so since then, I have moved to Toronto, and I think my politics about being queer have changed a lot. And before I proudly identified as a queer Jew, and now I don't necessarily identify as such. And that's because when I first moved here, I was like, oh shit, there's like this whole brigade of queer Jews, and I'm gonna march with them. But they were all Zionist, and I am not. And as someone who comes from a, again, Orthodox Zionist family, that doesn't really jive so well, being like, yeah, I'm not really into like talking about Israeli politics, because I'm not a Zionist, so we'll just stop right there. So yeah, that quickly changed when I met a group of people who were really political with their queer politics and would glitter bomb each other. And I was just like, oh shit, that literally involves like sticking your hand into a giant tub of glitter and literally like throwing glitter at someone with their consent, of course, because consensual glittering is like actually a thing. And I was like, this is fucking awesome. I want to do this all the time. It should not just be a thing during Pride. Like, I just want to glitter pump people in the street, and that's great. So from there, I went to a conference called the FEM Conference, which was in Baltimore 2 years ago. And I then, in 2012, came into my FEM identity and didn't really know like how glitter really incorporated into that. But I remember the morning I arrived at the FEM Conference, I came down in this elevator, and sure enough, the elevator doors open, and there's just this sea of FEM-identified people of all shapes, colors, stripes, like, you name it, but there was fucking glitter everywhere. Like, you could see it floating in the lights, and I was like, what is this? Like, is this some weird glitter cult? Like, what did I sign up for 4 days in Baltimore, Maryland, of all places? Anyway, so sure enough, I left the conference being covered in glitter, and this somehow just stayed around the house for like weeks and weeks and weeks when I got back. I think some people say that glitter is the herpes of craft supplies. I now fully understand why. I make sure that whenever I move into a new house that I check in with my roommates that they like glitter, because frankly it's going to be everywhere. And I moved a month ago, and the first thing I asked my new roommate when I moved in was like, so I kind of have a problem with glitter, and if you are cool with that, that's great, and we'll get along. And she's like, oh, I have like a shit ton of glitter craft supplies. Like, are you okay if like glitter is all over the house? And I was like, where's the lease? So it's really great because I have had roommates before. I was actually recently glitter shamed, as I call it, by a drag king. I was performing at a show called Butch Femme Salon, which some of you might have been to before. And we were getting ready in the green room, and I was putting glitter on, and this drag king turns to me and is like, oh, yeah, can you not get any of that on me? I had a one-night stand recently, and she wore glitter, and I really wasn't into her. And it was on me for weeks, and I was like, fuck you. Like, go get ready in like some other secluded part of your green room because you're queer and this is a performance art night, and how are you glitter shaming me right now? Like, I can't believe that actually happened. So, funnily enough, the same night, I was actually scarred by glitter. So I wrote this story with a whole bunch of advice to people, being like, here's what you should not do with glitter. So here's a piece of that advice. Don't use craft glitter on your body. So I was wearing a corset that night, and I had run out of body glitter, because again, what year is it? 2014. Even though glitter is still in style, for some reason, Ardennes and Claire's Accessories, where I decided to go back to for all of my glitter restocking, they really don't carry the type of glitter that I need, and they just gave me this like look, being like, yeah, you could be like, you're probably 15 years older than us. Why are you buying body glitter? And they weren't around in the 90s, so they don't understand, like My Little Pony, basically. So I decided I had like a whole box of craft glitter, and I was like, this is fine. So I dump it all over myself, and I was wearing a corset, and I was serving popcorn that night. So heat and metal and tight leather things around your body like always seemed like a great idea. And then I get home and I look down at my chest and my tits are covered in blisters. Like, I shit you not. Do not, whatever, like, I mean, if you want to, if you're into that, don't put craft glitter on your body, guys, because you're gonna get blisters, and those blisters turned into scars. And so, I mean, my boobs are all over the internet because I'm way more comfortable actually, like, performing without clothes on, so this is, like, really challenging for me right now. But I now have scars from glitter on my left tit, and yeah. So it's, glitter and I, like, we're bonded for life. Another piece of advice that I have to offer up just because it's kind of hilarious and it involves Pride in the Dyke March. Last summer, I decided to wear sequin shorts. You know, I encompass glitter and incorporate glitter into my every single day life. I always want to, tonight I'm wearing eyeliner and eyeshadow. Lise Wattier, it's fantastic. $25 at Shoppers Drug Mart. I recommend it to everybody. Last summer, I decided to wear sequin shorts and go as a dyke on a bike at the Dyke March. And so I went topless, and I used Sharpie to draw a bike across my chest. And so, like, you know, full on, like, wheels, spokes, the whole deal. And I was wearing sunscreen, but I didn't know that Sharpie can eventually also burn into your skin. So I get home, and I'm like, whatever, it was a great day, like, yay, dyke space solidarity. And I showered, and all the Sharpie came off, and then I looked down at my chest, and I was like, oh shit, there's still like weird marks in my chest, but no red Sharpie, just like white, I had been sunburnt Sharpie. So I had bike spots burned into my boobs for the following 3 months, which is a great conversation starter, but also makes me a really fucking fierce cyclist. And as someone who just got into a bike accident on Thursday, I think I still might do the same thing this summer and just be really fucking proud of it. So if any of you are out, I mean, Pride is getting kickstarted tonight, but really June is just Pride Month. Like, if you ask any queer person right now, they're fucking stressed out and they're putting on a really happy face, being like, yeah, we're really happy. Oh yeah, we have so much work to do and we're getting 4 hours of sleep and have like caffeine as blood. If any of you see me out at an event, I have lots of glitter for everyone, so if you are into being consensually glittered, just look me up. Thank you.